Okay, folks. So this is interesting. Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of Chase Bank, who is beloved by Democrats and probably many rhinos on the right, and he works basically on behalf of most progressive Marxists, but he pushes back a little here, and it's the principle of what he said. This is not a principled person, but it's the principle of what he says here that is very interesting. He's saying that Dems should be more respectful of Trump supporters. Negative MAGA talk will hurt Biden. Let's watch this.
This economy playing itself out over the next 12 months. This is an election year. We talked a lot about what just took place in Iowa and trying to understand how the American public is going to feel about the economy may ultimately dictate how the president is deciding.
Yes, I agree with that. I think it's a mistake to assume that everything's hunky-dory. And, and when stock markets are up, it's kind of like this little drug we all feel. Like, it's just great, But remember, we've had so much fiscal and monetary stimulation. So I'm a little more on the cautious side that we are facing a lot of things in 24 or 25. And we mentioned Ukraine, the terrorist activity in Israel, the Red Sea, quantitative tightening, which I still question if we understand exactly how that works. I don't think we do. How QE actually worked, what the effect of negative, zero rates was for all this time, and obviously the politics. And then the Ukrainian war is affecting oil, gas, food, migration. So you have all these very powerful forces that are going to be affecting us in 24 and 25. So if I was the government, I would be preparing for what I'm going to do about that, assuming things aren't good. And I just also want to point out, I wish the Democrats would think a little more carefully when they talk about MAGA, if you travel this country, and the country's unbelievable. We took our bus trip this year, and Leslie Picker was on Spokane and Boise and Bozeman. People are growing. They're hungry to grow. They're innovating. It's everywhere. It's not just Silicon Valley. So we've got this great hand. But when people say MAGA, they're actually looking at people voting for Trump, and they think they're voting, and they're basically scapegoating them, that you are like him. But I don't think they're voting for Trump because of his family values. If you look, just take a step back, be honest. He was kind of right about NATO, kind of right about immigration. He grew the economy quite well. Tax reform worked. He was right about some of China. I don't like what he did.
No, I said China virus.
Yeah, I understand. He made right. And I don't like how he said things in Mexico. I don't like, but he wasn't wrong about some of these critical issues, and that's why they're voting for him. And I think people should be a little more respectful of our fellow citizens. And when you guys have people up there, you should always ask the why. Not like it's a binary thing. You're supporting Trump, you're not supporting Trump. Why are you supporting
It's hard to hate 75 million of your fellow Americans.
I agree.
Done
and the Democrats have done a pretty good job with the deplorables, hugging onto their Bibles and their beer and their guns. I mean, really, can we just stop that stuff and actually grow up and treat other people with respect and listen to them a little bit? And I do think the economy will affect. I think this negative talk about MAGA is going to hurt Biden's election campaign.
I just want to ask you back to the 34 trillion.
Anyway, so you get the point there, which is, I actually like that on principle. I'm not a fan of Jamie Dimon. I don't trust him. And I don't know if he's saying this in respect of like, hey, maybe I want to cozy up with Trump because the cards are showing and it's not looking good at all for the Democrats. Don't know. I don't know. But some of the comments on this were actually kind of interesting. Some were kind of funny. Somebody says, President Trump gave away his own salary. Biden is giving away yours. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's go down. So when does the FBI label Jamie Dimon an extremist for being reasonable? Yeah, no kidding. Look out, Jamie. Jamie, you just said, let's be reasonable and let's not call out and make demagogues of each other and make scapegoats of each other. And how about we be a little nicer? Well, that makes you an extremist, I guarantee. This is the first clear public statement critical of his progressive Marxist bosses. Give them time. Yeah, so we don't know because I'm not sure who exactly rules over Jamie Dimon, if he's bought in, which I think Chase has 100% bought into this ESG, DEI garbage. But people like him at the top, they are slow. I don't know why there's this cognitive dissonance with elites like this. They're slow to realize. It takes them about 10 years to finally come around and go, oh, that was a bad idea. You know, that was a bad idea that we did that. DEI, that's a terrible idea. I don't know if he necessarily believes that. I don't know. He's a hard person to figure out, and he's been in that position for a long time. So, but nevertheless, I think what he's saying definitely is true. Somebody says, when I voted for Trump, I was not voting for a saint. I was voting for someone who was going to stop the communist insanity of the Democrats and return sanity back to America. Even though he is a saint in comparison to 98% of the leftist, neurotic, psychotic collective. Yeah, that's the thing. Trump is not somebody that I probably would be best buddies with, but Trump right now, his policies, what he reflects, and his life, his morals or whatever, his personal life, we have to look at a bigger picture here. Is he in the business of defending the United States from this totalitarian communist philosophy that pervades progressive politics? Is he trying to do that? He is trying to do that. And when he blew their game, when he came in the presidency, and there's lots of things he didn't even know, and he was shocked and surprised, and he picked people for his cabinet who were weasels, who were traitors. Not traitors just to Trump, but traitors to the United States. That's the problem. They were super, super corrupt. And they said, we have been ruling this way for the past 100 years at least, and you're ruining it. The point is, we're not here to get anything done for the American people. The point is, we're trying to gouge the American people as much as possible. And we've made an oath to each other to cover each other's asses. So we will lie for each other. That's the oath, that's the covenant that these losers have taken to defend each other so that they don't get in trouble. Okay? And he's like, why are we paying NATO all this money? NATO isn't working for our interests. Why are we involved in the United Nations? The United Nations has no interest in the United States. Why are we not making America number one? Why are we not making citizens number one? This is what we should be doing. And to do that, we start financially getting America into a good place where the citizens are prospering because of good financial sound economies, and that there's a free market system. And there's a system set up that allows that, like innovation. It allows people to run small businesses, not shuts them down, not deconstructs this country into this amorphous vassal of a few lords and ladies at the WEF, UN, and the WHO. This is why having Trump as president is important. He's not a saint. I don't think even he would say that about himself. I mean, he gets up there and he's like, it was great, I was great, I did a great job. He'll say that, but he's a business guy. He's just a business guy. I don't get into his Atlantic City stuff. I don't get into his Trump Towers. He has gaudy stuff. He is not the guy that we pictured. We wanted some other guy. We wanted somebody to be pictured who had that flair and that eloquence of like a Barack Obama or somebody like that. But we've realized that Barack Obama, he deceived us the entire way. All that eloquence and he fit that template of what we imagined a great leader to look like, to sound like, to talk like, a statesman like type of demeanor, but he ruined us. And he was directly responsible for the culture wars that we're seeing now. The end product is absolute destruction. And he started that back in 2012. I have a video on the statistics of that if you'd like to look it up. It's called The Artificial Culture War that started in 2012. So I'm not voting for a saint either. And if you expect that, you really are an idealist. I think if you expect that, what you'll end up voting for is probably someone who may have the appearance of a saint, but may be an absolute Satan underneath, and may be looking to screw you 12 days from Sunday, you know? So Diamond's sucking up to Trump now because he knows Trump will win in 2024 and Diamond wants access. Diamond's a smart guy, but a weasel too. Exactly, he's a weasel. Diamond is giving sage advice to Democrats because he sees them blowing it for his candidate, Joe Biden. Our political system rewards weaselness. Jimbo says just typical ad hominem attacks because they know damn well things were better under Trump. The world is a dumpster fire under the current administration. The left isn't just politically tone deaf. They're so removed from the average American we might as well not speak the same language. Only a liberal could turn Make America Great into a hate speech. Now here, this is the most important quote here, I think, that somebody mentioned. They hear the people. Now this is where we are. We went straight back to the 1300s here, okay? This is where I believe we are at. This is the problem in our country. They hear the people. They simply look at it and the people with contempt. Like, you guys created this. You call us deplorables. 75 million people in this country you call deplorables. Every speech that Biden's done so far, which is like 2, is he puts on this red background and he says, MAGA is the enemy of this country. We're Americans. We want to see this country do better. If we take us out of inflation, stop stealing, stop laundering money through the Ukraine, stop padding your own pocketbook with money from China. Our own president is doing this. Listen, I believe if you have a decent president, that'd be great. But a president should not be selling out, not him, our country, to China. Probably one of our biggest enemies right now. China is the end opposite of freedom and liberty. No, these aren't MAGA extremist words. Don't you want freedom? If you were a bird in a cage, don't you want freedom? Is that extreme for a bird to want to get out of the cage? Is that too extreme? So I love this. Let me just start again. Sorry. They hear the people. They simply look at it and the people with contempt. They believe they are the best and brightest. Now, the elites, okay, the journalists, the media, the financial gurus, they all think they are the best and the brightest. And in such, the problem with that is no humility and no wisdom. And in such, they have an obligation they feel like they have an obligation to impose what is right on the masses because the masses are simply too ignorant. Okay, they believe this to understand what is in their best interest. Reality is that they are the ignorant party. They do not understand that a few elites are doing what they're doing is to use them to gain power over the world, to return to that ruling status that existed before the major revolutions. Yes. And he's talking about the Middle Ages. They want one world government and a few lords over mostly vassals and peasants is what they want. They do want those vassal states back. So thought I would read that because I think that's the whole point. Is that those 2 points, the Jamie Dimon said that, stop making these people out to be scapegoats. The other thing is too, is the cognitive dissonance where journalists, mainstream media, currently the people at the top of the federal government right now. Now, I believe there's some decent people. There's probably a few decent people up there. There are decent people who are federal employees, for sure. That are state employees, absolutely 100%. I totally agree with that. But the ones who currently hold the most power, they are intent on making sure that the message gets out there that we know best for you, and the best is that we take everything you have. I believe some of them actually believe that. And so they really do believe they are the best and the brightest, and they aren't actually right now. That's the problem. Without wisdom, without humility, and with just 100% ignorance, you have Kamala Harris, you have Joe Biden, you have people at the top that are completely some of the most mediocre individuals you've ever met. But they believe they're the best and the brightest because they've been given a microphone. But they're not. They are tools. That's why Joe Biden used to be known as the MBNA senator. The senator for MBNA. Remember that big credit card bank in Delaware? Everything he did in Congress was on their behalf because they were paying him a lot of money. So anyway, folks, that's the kind of an interesting segment from Jamie Dimon, of all people, who I don't trust, but I just think that's kind of an interesting take. We'll see what the progressive Marxist overlords say to him to straighten him out. Maybe he'll leave. Maybe he'll just be like, I'm done. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. Leave any comments below, and I will talk to you later. Bye.